Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the instant match reaction. Burnley 0, Everton 0. A completely forgetful game. Let's be honest. I hate Christmas football, and I hate it for this reason. The quality is always poor because genuinely at this time of the year, you have a mixture of injuries and suspensions that only really helps the bigger teams out because everyone is suffering a little bit. Today, let's put today into some kind of perspective. We were missing today Jack Grealish, Iliman and Jai, Dewsbury Hall, and Adrissa Gay. Those players would normally start in our team. And it was evident. On top of that, we're missing, just in terms of a football team, we're missing fullbacks. We're missing a centre forward. We've got no bench. So let's have a little bit of perspective, because I don't want to come on here ranting and raving about it. It was a woeful football match, and I applaud any Evertonian who went today. I understand people love the Boxing Day fixture, but I can't get excited. I was made up there was no game on Boxing Day, and it was on a normal sort of Saturday after Christmas. I can't get up for these games at all because I always think you know what you're gonna get. The simple fact is, I've just seen someone in the comments say excuses. That it's not excuses, is it? Really, it's not excuses. We were dreadful, but there's a reason why we were dreadful. We were dreadful because in the attacking part of the pitch, we had nothing. He started Beto, which I did think he would start Beto today. We had Diblin making only his second start in the Premier League. We had White McNeil. We had Carlos Alcaraz, who's not pulled up any trees of late. We had the fullbacks didn't want to go forward. And to me, I got the feeling that Moyes went for a draw. Like, he went for a clean sheet. Let's put it that way. I think Moyes went for a clean sheet today. He understood it was a tricky game in terms of what we had on the pitch. And he's looked at it and thought, if we can get a clean sheet today, if we get a point, move us up to 25 points, ahead of obviously a tougher game on Tuesday night, then he was probably willing to make that sacrifice with everything. And that's basically what it turned out to be, didn't it? It turned out to be an Everton team that weren't really too concerned. No, I mean, that might be the wrong choice of words, but a team that was like, we know we're stretched, and if we can get a point, even though it's Burnley, we'll take that. Or even think, well, if we go for a clean sheet, we'll get an opportunity here, because we should get an opportunity. And we did get a couple. They got a couple as well. There was a couple of let-offs. Certainly the one in the last minute, which probably was. I mean, it might have been offside, or it mightn't been offside. You're talking tiny margins there. I just know it would have been a very, very, very anxious wait if he had scored. But you could see by the way we played, you could see that the fullbacks, Brien never got forward once, I don't think, in the entire game. He never got forward once in the entire game. So, and he could have done, Diblin could have done with him, because Diblin, actually, I thought Diblin done well today, considering that he hasn't started any other game bar one, and he was taken off at half time. I thought he showed some good signs, and he give us our best opportunity early, well, in the first half, when he put the ball into Beto, and it's hit Beto's calf, I think, and gone wide, which should have really put us in the lead. He's put another cross in for Alcaraz for a header. He he won as a free kick towards the end. Good dart and run. Took the lad on, won the free kick on the edge of the box. I thought he looked bright. You can see, obviously, his second half he faded and the manager took him off late. But there was promising signs there. I thought James Garner was probably the best player on the pitch in terms of the whole game. There was a couple of other moments. There was moments off a corner which bouncing around, but they did the same. So, but it was just a very, very poor game in terms of quality. There wasn't any quality in the game at all. As I said, they had the one late on, and they'd had one before that. I mean, it doesn't help when people like Michael Keane are trying to do lollipops or trying to do like mad skills and losing the ball. As I said, if you tell me that 25 points at this stage of the season, then I would probably have been happy with that. If you told me how many players we would have had missing today going to Burnley, would I be happy with the point? Maybe. They're not a great side, but they're not a very strong side either, I don't think. But they had a couple of moments. But I just think today was just the squad, and I think it's accumulation of things. I think it's accumulation of not getting enough players on the pitch at certain times in the season. Not giving Dibbling more opportunities, so that when he has to start a game, Mail and Roll, I would have started Mail and Roll today, but the manager knows what his fitness levels are. I would have started him today. Just the depth of the squad is poor, but that's something when you think about where we were last season and how many players we lost in the summer. The squad is very, very weak. Very, very weak once you get past those players. And it doesn't help when players are out all at the same time. Obviously, AFCON, obviously Senegal, I think drew 1-1 today as well, by the way. AFCON and then injuries, usually Hall and Grealish. It's the worst time to pick up injuries or have players out with so many games. It takes a toll. And I think we saw that towards the end of the game as well. We're taking players off. Who, or certainly the players we want to take off, maybe we can't because we haven't got anything on the bench. And then when we do take like Dibbling off, it's Patterson who hasn't played all season. There's obviously the bench really. There's only two players who were really ever going to make a difference, and that was Barry, who nearly scored. Keeper got a hand on it and it got kicked off the line. There was only ever going to be two real subs to come on. There's kids and obviously players on there, goalkeepers. We just need players now. Again, I've heard people say, and Moyes will say, "Oh, January's not a time to buy." Try and get some loans. Try and get a couple of loans that will just freshen the squad up for the second half of the season. That will give us a little boost. Couple of players that are looking to play in the World Cup that are not getting a look in at their clubs. Bring them in for the second half of the season and see if it freshens it up a little bit so that when we lose players, we've got decent backup because the drop off from say Dewsbury Hall to Carlos Alcaraz is huge. It's huge. The drop off from Grealish to McNeil is huge. The drop off to Ndiaye to Dibbling is huge. It's too big, and then when you've got to play them all at the same time, it's massive, and then it affects how you play. Because then you do go somewhere to get a clean sheet and your fullbacks are not getting forward. And again, in the first half and in the second half, players playing safe passes because they don't want to make that mistake. And that was very evident as well. Players don't want to make that mistake that leads to us conceding a goal. Because let's be honest, we're struggling to score goals when we've got our best team out. So when we've got a poor side, it's never going to happen. We just final third, we look so poor, really, really poor. I've said it a few times. The gamble to go into the season with only two centre forwards and it being those two centre forwards was for me a massive mistake. But here we are. It is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. Hopefully Grealish can be back for Tuesday. If it's a virus, hopefully he can be back for Tuesday and give us something else. Mail and roll. Maybe he might look to start Mail and roll. He might put Barry back in the side on Tuesday to freshen it up. Because you just need to keep freshening up at this time of the year. Players don't look, I'm not saying tired. I don't think that's the right word. Players who haven't played just look off the pace. And to be fair, in the final third today, we looked like a gang of strangers. We really did look like a gang of strangers. And that's where that's where you need quality in the side. And Burnley are dreadful, aren't they? They're a dreadful football team. The fact that they couldn't beat us today says a hell of a lot about them, that they couldn't beat us. Because, if you can't beat an Everton side, and that's, again, if you want to try and take a positive out of it, that's, if they can't beat a team like us, then, that's the way it is. But it's always going to be the same at this time of year when you haven't got a squad. This time of year benefits the top 5 or 6 teams who've got big squads, who can rotate, that injuries don't hurt them as much because they've got quality on the bench. Clubs like us, it's going to hurt when you scrape past what's there. So listen, no one's going to remember this game, are they? It massively frustrating. You can say they were there for the taking. We were there for the taking today as well. We were absolutely there for the taking as well. So it's all eyes on Tuesday now. Forest were obviously beaten today, but obviously by Manchester City. So it's on to Tuesday, and then that's the halfway point of the season. If we can get a win there, or if we can get a point there, and move us to 26, or even, dare I say, 28 points, then I think that would represent a decent half of the season. But as I said, we definitely need to bring in a couple of more players in January. And as I said, I know they'll keep on talking about the same things. Oh, it's not a great time to buy. I always think January, going into a tournament in the summer, is a good time to bring in loan players. So if Everton can exploit the loan market, then let's hope they can. Let's hope they can anyway. So listen, draw the line underneath it. And once you've watched my player ratings and Baz's videos, just get on with the rest of your night. Go and finish Stranger Things, or start Stranger Things if you haven't already. So listen, don't go far. This video, if you stay on this video now, it'll take you straight to player ratings, which I'm going to basically do straight away. So don't go far. Stick with us. Go to the player ratings, and I'll literally be back in 1 minute to do the player ratings. So thanks for watching. See you in a bit.